Now, one of the tests that I have to do with this hybrid setup is really start to fine tune those shafts that I selected. So what I've done is I'm kind of in limbo between two different shafts and also two different types of point weights. And really my options are to shoot a lighter spine with a standard aluminum insert and a 100 grain point, which is going to give me an arrow that's much faster, but more importantly, when it comes to some of these Total Archery Challenge events or some 3Ds, is that flatter trajectory is going to give me some advantage when it comes to low hanging limbs. And again, because I'm not going to be worrying about momentum or kinetic energy, that's one of the cool things about being able to go to a hybrid type setup, because I want to know how accurate I am. I want the same feel as a hunting bow, but I also want to see how accurate I can make this. I'm definitely going to go with the smaller vane configuration for a little bit less wind drift. And I'm going to use that same exact vane configuration on a stiffer spine as well, with a heavier insert and possibly even a heavier front point. Now what I'm looking for is, does this arrow that has a little bit higher FOC actually group better than that arrow that has a little bit lower FOC or front of center? So I'm going to do some shooting with a little bit of wind, also without wind, and start to plot these groups, and I'll walk you through some of the things that I'm looking for when doing these tests. Now, one thing that's important is I've always said that I set up a bow, but I tune arrows, and I'm a big believer in this, because if you want to know how that arrow really works with the bow that you have, you can't keep changing a lot of variables. So the one variable I don't change is my bow setup. Because both of these arrows are the same exact diameter, my knock height and my center shot should be almost perfect. And as you can see here, both the lighter spine and the heavier spine are both shooting perfect holes through paper, and they're giving me a perfect starting point. So I'm going to go outside, I'm going to do some shooting, and I'm going to talk to you about what those results mean. Red nocks first. Sight on 80. Look good. Looks like a good group. Okay, now we're going green nocks. This is about 35 greens more in the front. Just gonna guess with 3.5, just under 4 yards more. Look good. Look good. You can see them all right in the square down there. All right, let's go see what we got. I'm about 4 days in on shooting my TAC hybrid bow. Made several changes, and one of the things I've been working on is choosing the right arrow. I've been working on 2 different spines. This is a lighter spine, this is a heavier spine. What I was doing is I was shooting both of them with the same exact insert and point weight. For this, I started with aluminum inserts, which is actually where this is at. This is aluminum inserts on the weaker spine with 100 grain points. Then I tried the next stiffer spine with aluminum inserts and 100 grain points as well. Shot very similar. It was about 1 yard difference here at 80 yards. So I needed 81 yards with that stiffer spine and with the same point weight. However, when I shot, if I had a marginal shot, my marginal shots would have a flyer that was a little bit further out than the other marginal shots. So on this last group right here, I actually took that same stiffer spine and went to the same point weight as if I were to be shooting a brass 50 grain hit insert with a 100 grain point. So this group here, I actually have 150 grains total on the front of this stiffer spine. And keep in mind, it's not fully sighted in. However, the group is getting a lot closer to this weaker spine with a very light point. Very light meaning I've got 120 grains total in the front. I think I might go with this just because it does have a little bit more speed, and for this round and shooting the Total Archery Challenge events, I don't have to worry about penetration or momentum. However, if you did want to have that higher front of center and the 150 grains total in the front, you can see here my overall group size is starting to match that lighter point weight setup with the weaker spine. I'm getting very close, and I can make these shoot the same, but the real difference is going to be how these things actually compare to the sight scale that I have. So just to give you an idea, I'm a little bit low here, probably a half yard. So for me to be able to shoot the same yardage at 80 with this weaker spine and 120 grains in the front as I would with this stiffer spine with 150 grains in the front, I would have to have 4 yards difference at 80. This could mean almost 6 yards at 100. So in these Total Archery Challenge events, if you're struggling with getting that 100-yard mark, then you might have to factor in a few of these things, because having that higher FOC also comes with the price of having a much bigger sight scale. So I might shoot a few more groups here just to see, but this is a pretty awesome comparison right here. And again, this is about 4 yards difference at 80. Weaker spine with an aluminum insert and 100 grain points, or that stiffer spine with 50 grains of brass and 100 grains in the front. So it's pretty cool to see how they both react. Ideally, the groups are both awesome at this distance, but the trade-off is that sight scale.